A quick follow-up video to my response on George Floyd, which I guess this channel is sort of about thinking out loud and trying to work things out, and not ever actually really working things out, but trying to organize my thoughts. Um, I guess it's one of these. It's a slap in the face moment. I guess There's been a couple of these. And they happen. Every once in a while, sort of. I don't know if it's reality, but the ugly bones underneath reality suddenly kind of poke out. Like someone's had a horrible fracture where the bone is just stuck out of the skin. And I think about, and that's where maybe even the people who aren't suffering the broken bones actually realize how terrible and horrible the situation is. That's how I can kind of equate the stuff that is happening with George Floyd and the riots, which are a part of that. Because if it had just simply been a person being a black man being killed by a police officer, and there hadn't been all these riots, it would probably not even be broken the skin in a way, because it would be just a part of the general wallpaper, unfortunately, of the news I hear about coming out from the United States, or I mean, of the many people who Native people, vulnerable people in our own society that end up in encounters with the police and stuff like that. But I think about also just sort of the other exploitations that happen in our society. I'm watching a Doberman Pinscher fetching his ball, which is his or her ball. But all the other exploitations that happen in our society, and that which we kind of we just take for granted. That we hope that it's benefiting everybody, but a lot of times it seems we're benefiting a smaller and smaller and smaller group of people as we go along. And I mean, my parents were in a bit of a middle class, and I guess I am probably working class. I'm a support worker, not raking in cash. Probably going to work until I die, or until I can't work anymore, and then I'm going to have to scrape along that way. But so I guess it's a reminder to myself not to get too first year university, the truth has been stripped aside, this is all bullshit, to try and, which isn't to say that those aren't lovely people who that outrage can cause great change, but to not become some kind of a liberal nihilist, I guess is the best way to put it. To understand there's beauty in the world, but there's also the hard, ugly bones as well, as and to try and find some bedrocks in my life that I keep going at. I mean, and that's personal ones, but that's also trying to think about ones that are a little bit larger than that too. Because I think if you just go too personal, you end up supporting or papering over the ugly bones of society. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to put that add on the thing of racism, colonialism, historical wrongs, the privileged position I live in the world, the powerlessness that as an individual I feel. I guess just trying to be, if anything, try and be aware of some of that. You're never going to be aware of all of it. It's the ground on which I sit, literally, the ground on which I sit. and even a wider historical context of, you know, everywhere was someone else's at some point. But we very much live. I live in a world, in a country where those people are still around, and they deserve my support and my respect for what they have gone through and how they are still struggling for that. You know, you can't this there's a certain point where everyone is either dead or is so mixed together, but that isn't where we are at. We're very much alive with the indigenous people of the land that I sit up on. Maybe that's something I should try and focus on. As I said, I'm just thinking out loud here.